For the first iteration of my game, I decided to focus on the controls. I did not like the camera controls with the mouse, so I decided to change that fully to keyboard. Also, I made enemies that can, when they hit you, push you back so that you'd have time to react after you get hit and not get killed immediately. This, however, caused you to glitch through walls still, which was a problem. Therefore, instead, I made it, in Prototype 2, I made it so that there's actually a timer on when an enemy gets close to you, when they deal damage, instead of pushing you back. Also, I put a little tutorial on the purple meter by jump scaring you, freezing you so that you can read the text on how the controls work, since they're not the classic WASD but X and Z. Also, the player can fight back this time. The player does indeed push back the enemies when they hit them, but the enemies can't get through walls, so that's not a problem. Now for Prototype 3, I decided to add animations to the player so that the actions you are doing is visually more clear what you are doing, and I also added a key item so you can open doors silently, or you can just decide to punch the wall. However, that will make a noise that will attract enemies nearby, so you need to make sure that you get away from there. Expanded the level as well, so that the first level is meant to be an introduction to everything. So in the first one you had to lure enemies. Well, you were taught that if you punch the door, enemies will come towards the sound. Now you need to use that to your advantage and lure them towards a place so you can open a path. I also added medicine so that your health goes up again if you had taken damage. Now for Prototype 4, I decided to polish the looks a bit more so that aesthetically it looks more like a horror game, which is the point of it. Keeps people on edge. The room got much darker so that people would pay attention as well, and the combat is more polished as well. The enemies have animations now too, and every time they punch, only when the swing lands, you take damage, which is so much better for combat. Also, new mechanics were added, as you can see here. The player can hide inside the closets. This helps expand more towards the sound mechanism, where you lure enemies towards you or towards a source of sound. And here also added a box you can push. However, that will make noise as well, so you have to hide again. Make sure the enemies don't catch you before you can fully push the block. It's a little too heavy right now. You have to go back way too soon, but I fixed that in later types as well. And now there's a third level as well. I decided to make 3 levels. It just seemed like a more round number, and 3 levels seem good to like expand more upon the mechanics. Now for Prototype 5, the purple meter does not go down on its own anymore. This was a last minute decision I made, but I did that because right now people confuse it with a stamina bar, which was not the case, and if you do go the fighting route, you can just full on beat this game with just fighting, going back and waiting for the meter and go back in, and that didn't seem fun at all. So here I made it, the meter goes up, doesn't go down on its own. You have an item that makes it go down, but that makes it so the player has to think about when they can punch an enemy, when they would, and when they should. For the final version, I decided to add a flashlight. The surroundings itself is still dark, but a little bit too dark, which makes it frustrating for the player to see. So I added the flashlight, and also at the end there I put in multiple endings to really emphasize on the choices you make, the different routes you take, actually does come into play at the end. Also adds to the replayability.